Petra was originally known as Rakhmu. It's a historical and archaeological city in southern Jordan, and it's a World Heritage Site. It was established possibly as early as the 4th century BC as the capital city of the Nabatean kingdom. The Nabateans were nomadic Arabs who invested in Petra's proximity to the trade routes by establishing it as a major regional trading hub. For that reason, they gained a lot of money and became very wealthy, and Petra became the focus of their wealth. The earliest recorded historical reference to the city was when an envious Greek dynasty attempted to ransack the city in 312 BC. Unlike their enemies, the Nabateans, because they were nomadic, were accustomed to living in barren deserts, so they were able to repel the attacks by utilising the area's mountainous terrain. Encroaching troops of the Roman Empire in 106 AD, however, forced the Nabateans to surrender, and the Romans annexed and renamed the kingdom to Arabia Petraea. The city's importance declined as sea trade routes emerged, and then there was an earthquake around about 363, and that destroyed many of the structures. By 700, there was only really a handful of nomads grazing goats living in the place. Petra remained unknown to Europeans until it was rediscovered in 1812 by Swiss explorer Johann Burckhardt, who read the historical descriptions of Petra and concluded that there is no other ruin between the extremities of the Dead Sea and Red Sea of sufficient importance to answer to that city. The city is famous for its rock-cut architecture and water conduit system. Another name for Petra is the Rose City due to the colour of the stone out of which it is carved. It's been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1985, and it is one of the most amazing places that you can actually visit. Because it's such an amazing place, there are a lot of tourists who go to Petra, thousands. You enter Petra in two ways. One is from the back, from Little Petra, which is the way that I entered it the first time. And there you meet very few people, and the other way is to walk down through the Seek, which is much busier, and you can actually get down it by horse and cart, by camel, by donkey, by foot. But it was quite amazing. Although there are a lot of tourists in Petra, you can actually get away from the bulk of the tourists if you actually take one of the walks that takes you away from the main tourist sites, and I would certainly recommend that you do that. Not only does it take you away from the main tourist sites, you can actually see not just the important buildings that were built at Petra, but you can see how the ordinary houses were actually constructed into the walls, and that will give you a real flavour of what this city looked like and would have been like in its heyday. I think there was something like 200,000 people living in Petra at one point in its heyday, and you can actually get a feel for how that city actually operated. And it's also truly amazing to look at the buildings and think, how on earth in sort of 300 BC did they actually manage to create these things? So I would recommend not just visiting the treasury and the monastery, but also taking a walk up through some of the other aspects and walks of Petra, trying to kind of get away from the main tourist drag. Doing that will also allow you to see the sort of mountainous area that Petra was built on, and to marvel at how they use these facilities to build their city. Another thing you can actually do is to visit Petra by night, and that is again an amazing experience. They light the Seek and the treasury with candles, and you can just walk down there and really enjoy some music and singing.